Hey there everybody, Mazrock here, and today I want to throw my hat in the ring on a topic that I have seen plenty of other people cover, and that is solo Mythic Plus queuing. And I want to cover why I think this is an absolutely atrociously bad idea, except for one circumstance, which could be really, really good. So, before we do get into it though, please do like, comment, and subscribe. It goes such a long way towards helping out the channel. There's a Patreon link down below. This would have been an early access Patreon link, but it took me a little bit of time to come up with everything. But there's already a bunch of exclusive stuff up there, so go check it out. And I've got tons of more stuff going up there as well. There is a Discord link. Come on by, join in. Have fun, and a Twitch link as well. Come on by, watch me stream. If I'm not mistaken, there is a beach party toy or something that's going to be a Twitch drop. Come 10.1.5 for watching everyone play, for watching WoW streamers stream. So come on by, check that out. All right, solo M+ queues. What it would be? It would be like the current Dungeon Finder, right? You set your things. I want to do a 15 to 17. Blah 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 blah. You queue up, and you get 4 other people that have queued up, and then you go in and run the dungeon. Okay. This is one of those things where, on paper, it sounds wonderful. Okay, it sounds great. In practice, I would theorize that it would kill Mythic Plus. Literally, just fucking kill it. Number one, we talk about the toxicity of people in Mythic Plus now, and that's when they're not entirely anonymous, right? You can't just queue up for... You have to sell yourself via the Dungeon Finder, whether it's by your name, your IO, your item level, what you bring to the party, what you can do, the dungeons you've completed. You have to sell yourself to a certain degree to be able to get yourself into a dungeon run, right? That's what we have to do, right? If you know you're a Lust class and they don't have a Lust, write Lust. For example, I got in on a lot of keys on my Evoker that already had a Lust and had a Poison Dispel, but didn't have a bleed removal for dungeons like Neltharis. And the healer would tell me, like, man, I never even thought about bringing a bleed removal in here, and that's how I was able to get into infinite amount of them to farm as spoils of Neltharis. But that's not what this is about. The fact is you have to sell yourself and your name to an nth degree. Like, it's not super crazy, and there are still people toxic. But the thing is if you remove that interface from the game and just allow solo queue to be a thing, it's going to get way more toxic. Think about leveling dungeons now. Time walking now. It's not a pleasant experience going into a leveling dungeon with some of these... I have dealt with more toxicity while leveling a character than I ever have in Mythic Plus. And I want to say dealt with, it wasn't always directed at me. Like, it's not like it was just me, but it was always like, I'd seen this happen. People making fun of other people or things like that, and that's because it's pure anonymous. I'm sorry, but if we're relying on the WoW community, the people that play this game, to be a step above, a cut above, when historically has been... The historical track record there isn't great, okay? I think we're getting better. I think the WoW community has gotten better. I can tell you, since when I played Kata to now, the WoW community is night and day better. But we're still people at the end of the day, and people aren't always great. People aren't always nice to each other. And this system right now is already kind of fragile, right? The Mythic Plus system is already kind of fragile, in my opinion. And putting a solo queue will put a band-aid on it that will make everything worse. You will see short-term gain, and then it will just crumble. And that is purely my opinion, but that's what I see happening. But not to mention, because a big reason for this coming out, right? The big reason why the call for this is coming out is because toxic people leave groups, and group leavers, and oh my god, no. Okay, yes, true. And you want to penalize people that leave groups, I get that. But it also flips the switch. Because now, with solo queue and plus, you're also forcing people to stay in toxic groups to finish, to not get punished. I have left many groups because people were being dicks. People were being insulting, people were throwing out slurs, people were generally being assholes. And I have left those groups because I don't want to play with those people. So now you have a solo Mythic Plus queue where you are forcing people to finish a dungeon with other toxic people or get punished for it. And I'm sorry, Blizzard is not the person to implement that system. Especially after 9.1. They are not. They are the last company in the world right now that should be implementing a system that forces other people to remain around other toxic people to get the job done. End of argument. Done. Cool. We all got it? Excellent. But, now I did promise you, the means which this could be good. And I actually have an idea for a solo queue Mythic Plus system that could, I think, be really good and actually, I think, is necessary for the game. People could opt into queue from key levels 2 to 6. I was trying to make a point, whatever. I think that was 7. 2 to 6. Between X item level and X item level. So you put a minimum and you put a cap. So people can't come in and carry these groups. Right? You have an X amount of item level, and the item level is made to be more than doable, but also challenging for people that don't know the dungeon. And you take this time, there's no timer on the dungeon, you take this time to take a couple of examples in the dungeon and flash freeze. So, for example, we're going to use Dragonflight Hollow as an example for this case, and throw out a couple of things that could be flash freezed and do teachable moments. Okay? You're fighting the War Scourge in Dragonflight Hollow. The kick, Hideous Cackle, goes off. Everyone gets feared. Freeze! Big arrow points to War Scourge with a moving Hideous Cackle bar saying, "You were feared by this not being interrupted." And then you have 4 options. Please click on which ability you would use for your class to stop this from happening next time. And then people would have to be like, oh, I'm playing a paladin. It's Rebuke. Now, would this solve every interrupt problem? No, but this would make people aware that, hey, I have to use an interrupt in certain scenarios. Maybe ask themselves, what other scenarios could I use? But I think Blizzard has done a very poor job at teaching people the core mechanics of Mythic Plus, because the core mechanics of Mythic Plus are no longer do as much damage as you can and power through it, but use all of the utility at your disposal and finish it. For example, there's the little fighters, the Null fighters, I can't remember their name, but they do the cast Vicious Claw Mangle. Let's say somebody dies from that, or somebody gets hit from that. Flash freeze. You got hit because this is a fixate ability that came and attacked you. You can stop it by using some form of CC. And then you would have another multiple choice going, this is the CC you could use to stop that. And then they'd have to click which ones apply, and then boom, you go back, and once all 5 people have done this, and have learned this, and like we go to the first boss, like, hey, Gnashtooth has done a really nasty bleed. This is a good time to use it offensive or help out your healer with healing abilities. Please click what defensives or healing abilities apply to you in this case. Have a couple. Have 4 or 5 per dungeon. Stuff that applies to CC, interrupts, heals, defensives, the whole shebang, right? The whole thing. Teach people the core Mythic Plus rules in that, and give them better gear. Now, I'm not saying take out the 2 to 6 bracket at all. Keep it. If people still want to form a group by themselves, walk into the dungeon and run it, they should have every single right to. But if you're willing to go through that experience, you should be rewarded with a little bit better gear. Maybe the gear gives a little bit higher item level. Maybe if you, the first time you complete said dungeon in the solo plus queue, you are guaranteed a piece of gear from all 8 dungeons, at least once. First time you do Dragonflight Hollow, bam! You get a piece of gear. Guaranteed. And it's a little bit higher item level than if it would have dropped, like if you completed it at a 2 difficulty, it could be this a little bit higher item level than the 2. This would mean that there would be good means for gearing up, and you could have a voting system if somebody left because they were toxic, or anything like that, of all 4 people, like, you know, screen coming up going, no, this person's very toxic or whatever. There are means to kind of do this and not game the system as well, because you want you want new players to come in and learn, and you want the older players, or the veterans of this community, as a better terminology, to come in and say, hey, no, okay, these are the teaching moments. I'm here for gear. I'm going to get my guaranteed piece, but these are also the teaching moments. These are the learning dungeons. Because WoW doesn't have that right now. WoW doesn't have that learning dungeon. And everyone in this game expects everyone to go from, I leveled my first level 70 to, I know every little kick and stop. Like, I don't understand how you can expect people to make that jump, right? And Blizzard doesn't have anything in-game to help with this. And I think this sort of system is literally perfect. But after that, it does never need to be implemented ever again. For any reason. Leave the system the way it is. But I actually think this could help the later queue system of helping people understand why they might not get into groups. Help people understand how to get into groups and how to perform better to get into said groups. Because right now, it's very easy to see, and that is a whole other topic of discussion. I have actually been working on a Pug Finder tips video and stuff like that. I'm currently writing out the bullet points and the scripts while I'm still kind of trying to go off. I've had lots of discussions with a lot of friends on this, on people that solo do DPS and how to get into groups and things like that. And I've got some pretty good information for y'all, but I need to make sure that it is tight, and I just want to get a little bit more IO on my Warlock and a few nights of solo play by myself of trying to get in keys on an Aflock. And if I can get into keys on an Aflock, it'll help. Alright, but that is it. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Would love to hear your guys' opinion. Have yourself a good one. Happy tanking.